For setting up my side stick for controlling the H125, these are the buttons that I assigned. This button that I normally use for brake became rotor brake. And the buttons that I normally use for trim, I use to do decreased rotor longitudinal trim and increased rotor longitudinal trim. Throttle axis X is default for collective with the TCA quadrant. I didn't make any changes to this. The throttle axis Y is a default for throttle with the TCA quadrant. Check to see if this axis needs to be reversed. I needed to reverse the axis so I can share this profile with the Robinson R88 turbine. The throttle has two modes for idle and flight for the H125, so you just flip it between the two and you don't actually move the axis. And this is a normal setting for helicopters that have a computer that governs the throttle. The Robinson turbine uses manual control for the throttle, and so these helicopters have an audible alert that tells the pilot that you need to pull back on the throttle to not overload the engine. The air brake axis is initially assigned to the rotor brake axis Z by default. I adjusted this curve to be a little bit more aggressive. It allows for a more feathered response at the 25 and 50% detents. The pilot pumps the brake at the middle settings, and at 100% the lever gets pulled back for a full slowdown. And if I go into here, and this is how I adjusted the action curve. I set sensitivity plus to 0.9, sensitivity minus is at minus 0.25, neutral is about minus 0.6 to be somewhere in the middle. So when I start pulling on the rotor brake, the pilot starts pumping it at 25%. This is what it looks like at 50%. To 75. And this is all the way, it pulls it to a full lock. And this is what instrument view 6 looks like, and there is the emergency cargo release right on the collective handle.
Line up and wait united 2.
I took the rudder trim on the quadrant and assigned it to decrease and increase lateral trim. Here in the certification tray, when you do your turbine engine rating, you can become eligible to fly the Robinson turbine or the Airbus H125 once you get that, and that's good for doing the passenger ferry missions, and it'll help you build experience for flying that helicopter. And then when you go up to the hook endorsement, it allows you to fly a lot larger helicopters. You need to get the airline transport pilot license for that. But I'm going to be focusing on the H125 to start out with. You need to be able to be good at maintaining a hover to be able to get your hook certification. The H125 has a few different configurations available for career mode. You can set up different profiles for the hoist toggle and toggle spray commands to do these types of missions. That concludes this tutorial video. Feel free to subscribe to Tasty Sandwiches for more aviation